Hi everyone, welcome back. In this video, we will resume our discussion from last video where we had seen that how you can create your basic Docker file with minimal instruction, and then we have also built the image out of it. So the purpose of that image was to simply say hello world once it execute inside the container. So as you can see here in our Docker file, we have just mentioned this statement echo hello world. So once it executes inside the container, when you run this Docker image, it will simply say hello world. If you haven't watched my previous video, please check the description for the link. And I have also uh, shared the playlist link in right corner on top of the screen. You can go through that. So let's begin. All right, so let's first see the image which we had created. So command would be docker image list. Yeah, so here is our image, my first image. Okay, then we will try to execute it. So let's see the command docker run, then we have to give the image name. So our image name is my first image which we had created. So here expectation is once we execute this Docker image, it should say hello world because in our Docker file we have provided this instruction. Okay, so let's see that. Yeah, so it's executed very quickly and we have this output over here. But this looks very simple. So let's try to understand what is happening behind the scene, how the container is initializing, what's the life cycle of container, how this Docker image running inside the container. So let's try to understand that part. Let's see the life cycle of Docker image. Okay, so suppose we want to create a Docker image, what would be our first step? So let's see step first. Okay, so we are going to cover this in 3 steps. So put those step 2 and step 3. Okay, so now let's see the step first. So first step I had already covered. We have to create our Docker file first, and this Docker file should contain all those dependencies. If you have some base code, you have to put inside this Docker file. Everything, whatever instruction you want to give, which will eventually execute, you have to provide over here. So once that is done, you are done with your requirement, you can simply do the build command, right? Uh, what happened here? Build command. Once you do this build command, it will create a Docker image. Okay, we will be having our Docker image. Then you can push this Docker image to Docker registry, and that registry could be anything. Suppose we are pushing this Docker to Docker Hub. Docker Hub. Like code, we use GitHub. So for Docker image, we have this Docker registry, which is called Docker Hub. Or you can simply put it on your local system. Local system. Okay, so once that is ready, your image is ready, you can simply execute your image. So once you do the run command, it will create one container and inside that container, your image will execute. And whatever dependencies, whatever file you have kept inside your image will execute it over here. So what actually container does here, this is our container. Container will provide you all the resources uh, like CPU, GPU, or memory, or networking configuration. Suppose you want to access this database which is present outside the container. So those configuration you have to do from container side. So to configure those things, actually we required one YAML file. All your container configuration you can write over here, like what all resources you required, what would be your RAM size and all. So this file we are not going to see over here right now because it's part of container. So but yeah, for your understanding you can think of this, whatever resources or memory container is using, we are providing inside this YAML file. Okay, so far we have seen very basic example on Docker image. Like in Docker file, we had just given one statement, hello world, but in our upcoming tutorials, we'll see how you can deploy your use case. We will take one ML use case and we'll uh, configure our Docker file accordingly, and then we'll deploy that model. Probably first we train our model and then we'll deploy our model inside the Docker and we'll try to predict on that model. Okay, so thank you for watching. See you in next video. Thanks.